Hi, my name is Kevin Bandy, and I want to share with you a book that was recently published titled Plowshares and Swords, Tennessee Farm Families Tell Civil War Stories by Conetta Skelly Hankins and Michael Thomas Gavin. Conetta and Michael are associated with Middle Tennessee State University's Center for Historic Preservation. Conetta writes, Tennesseans are storytellers, and they enjoy hearing and reading stories about the rich and colorful history of the state and its people. Farm families, particularly those who have tended the same land for generations, are among the primary keepers of stories, photographs, and memorabilia. Their memories, documents, and records add perspective and understanding to each period of the state's history, but especially to the years of the Civil War and Reconstruction. I was told as this project began, Conetta was to select from the 1,600 or so registered century farms here in Tennessee. She was to select 100. These 100 farm families were to share their story of the time during the Civil War and Reconstruction from the perspective of farm families. I'm very pleased to say that our farm, the J.M. Bailiff Farm here in DeKalb County, was selected to be included in those 100, and I'm going to take just a moment to read our story as published in the book. Typical of the many young men and women who chose to return to their pre-war rural lifestyle were the bailiffs of DeKalb County. James Monroe Bailiff and his brother Columbus supported the Confederacy and joined Colonel R.D. Allison's cavalry squadron in February 1863. Allison's three companies actively patrolled DeKalb County and took part in the Battle of Snows Hill on April 2, 1863. which occurred about a mile from the farm that Monroe Bailiff would purchase after the war. Allison's squadron fought in a number of battles and was attached to different commands, including those of Generals Joseph Wheeler, Nathan Bedford Forrest, and Frank Armstrong, as well as Lieutenant General Wade Hampton's Cavalry Corps at the end of the war. It was, however, during the Battle of Chickamauga in Georgia in September 1863 that Monroe Bailiff was wounded and Columbus Bailiff fell ill with typhoid fever. A local family took them in and nursed them as their unit retreated southward. Soon federal troops captured both wounded men and sent them to prison in Louisville, Kentucky. In ill health and unable to perform additional military service, their brothers were released in the spring of 1864 and made their way back to DeKalb County. Having survived imprisonment and his wounds, the 19-year-old Monroe Bailiff wanted nothing more than to make a living and raise a family. He married Eliza Foster from the nearby community of Wolf Creek in October 1865. It would be another decade, however, before the couple could purchase a 52-acre wooded hillside property in Possum Hollow in the Dry Creek community. With three small children, the Bailiffs completed a partially built log house and cleared the land of trees with a team of oxen. During the next 10 years following their land purchase in 1875, the oxen were sold and replaced with mules, which were better suited to hillside farming. Bailiff and his sons worked long hours to produce corn and wheat crops. They also raised poultry, bees, hogs, and cattle. Bailiff was an experienced third-generation blacksmith. He was also skilled in leather work and repaired shoes for members of the community. The family, which eventually included 9 children, made steady progress to secure the land and a future for the succeeding generations who would live on the farm.